The Weed of the Week is sponsored by the Enlist Weed Control System from Dow AgroSciences, a new herbicide and trait system that will build on glyphosate.
Your farm tells a story, one that continues with the decisions you make. Introducing the Enlist Weed Control System, an advanced herbicide and trait system that will build on glyphosate for exceptional control of tough weeds. The next chapter begins.
Our Weed of the Week is a winter annual. It's also a host for soybean cyst nematodes. The weed is Henbit.
You know, when you think about these winter annuals, that's the toughest weeds that we're fighting this spring. And Henbit is certainly a tough one if you have small grains, if you have lentils. I know there's a number of crops where it gets to be a real challenge. You know, with Henbit in our corn and soybean production, I would say this, I've noticed about Henbit, it stinks. You know, it has an odor to it. It's a member of the mint family, so it really shouldn't surprise you that it does kind of smell. It can only reproduce by going to seed. So if we wipe it out early this spring, we're not going to have to fight Henbit again. So let's get after it right away. In corn, I really like Harness and Surpass. And a lot of times you just talk about them for their grass control activity. They do have decent activity on some of these broadleaf weeds.
Yeah, but they're a lot better in the fall because, again, this is a winter annual. So if you can get out there in the fall with Harness and Surpass, that's a much better choice than Harness and Surpass in the spring. Triple Flex and Sure Start in the spring are probably better ways to go. Balance Flex is a little weak on this weed. Sharpen is a little bit weak on it too, although I don't think it's too bad, especially if you keep that rate up there. So in other words, Verdict that contains Sharpen, I think is a pretty good choice, especially when mixed with Roundup.
And when we're looking at wheat, pre-emerge, you can use a fairly high rate of Sharpen. Like Brian said, if you're mixing it in a burn down, you do Sharpen plus some Roundup, you're gonna do a nice job on Henbit. Then you come back post-emerge and Husky is really good. So if you get a big heavy pressure area of Henbit, I'd bump the rate up a little bit. You could mix some Addition broad spec in theoretically and add some to the control. I don't think you're gonna need it though. Husky does pretty well on its own.
All right, I said a little bit earlier that this can be a host for soybean cyst nematodes. That's bad. We got to make sure we control this in soybeans. The problem is, as a winter annual, you're going to need to burn it down with something, and you can't use much Sharpen in soybeans. 1 ounce is your max. So if it was me, I'd probably try some Authority. I would try some Sencor along with that Authority, or Valor, I guess would be fine too. And then just make sure you're using a good strong rate of Roundup in combination with all that, and you'll get Henbit under control.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week's weed, Henbit, but Iron Talk is coming up next.